Nah, just kidding. This tutorial is basically 3 essential tips that you'll need to animate. Things that maybe will make your animation better or will show you how to start in this sector. To begin with, of course, you'll need an application for it. I'm using Adobe Animate, but there are others, like Krita for the computer or the clip on your phone. Well, you can also do it in Paint and assemble the different images, but that doesn't entirely work. To get to know the animation, you'll need to get familiarized with which frame rate you like. Frame rate is basically the frames, which are the drawings and how many you want to be in just a second. Well, we have 60 FPS, that is basically killing yourself, and then we have the usual, that even professional animators work with, 30 frames or 24 frames per second. And inside of this, we have the on-choose animation, which is that each drawing fills the frames. Here's an example of a movie that if you pay attention you'll see that it's pretty weird, but in normal speed it actually feels good. Let's get started with straight ahead or pose to pose. These ones are just like ways to animate. The first one is animating something that is going to be fast, something like a simple move or the movement of segments of the body. But it doesn't entirely work in cases where you need a precise end pose, like when the character is jumping a cliff, where if you do it like this it just won't end very well. In these cases, you'll maybe rather to do the pose to pose way. That consists basically to just draw the main frames, and then you fill the rest with many other frames. In this next tip, which is squash and stretch, you'll need to make longer the object when something is going really fast. When it's going sideways, you'll need to squash it up and stretch it on the sides. Just like real life, where if you throw a ball, for example, it will, well, squash and stretch. Its proportions must be always the same, so when you squash it up, it must be stretched on the sides. And when it touches surface, it helps a lot to determine the mass. It can either be a soft water balloon that a few moments it leaves its content, or a tough bowling ball. And it doesn't have to be stretching the whole time. When it gets slowed down, it should be the same form. For last but not least, we have slow in and slow out. As in real life, something doesn't ever end up with a Sharpie way. You'll always need to add some extra frames, very close to each other so it can finish with a much cleaner way. Of course, this must be used knowing what you want to achieve. It's not all about adding it so it looks much better, but only when it's necessary, like an example of the ball that I mentioned earlier. Oh wait, I almost forgot this next tip, called timing. It's about the velocity of the object that you want to move. When it's slow, the frames are stick to each other, and of course when the action gets faster, the separation of the frames will be more. With the velocity, you can play to change the message you want the cartoon to make. In this one, is moving slowly, looking around in a forest, maybe a creepy forest. Maybe a creepy forest with bats. Let's leave it with a forest. And in this next one, with the same positions, just changing the velocity, he's dodging an anvil. You get the point, right? This was my project. I hope you like it, and I hope you can find it useful in your day-to-day life, or if not, I hope you find it interesting or joyful. I don't know. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.